Yep, righto. Oh dear. Hang on, let me check my audio just to make sure that things are okay. Oh geez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, that sounds okay. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2. Hello. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Could probably do 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 4, 5. That'll do. Hello. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. I think we are ready to go. YouTube stream should be running. Discord should be running. 20 seconds. Count me down. Super tired tonight. Super tired. Turn that off. And what's the wrong button? Oh my God. Sorry about that, chaps. That's what happens when you have the monitor on. Instant feedbacks. God, it's truth. That's probably killed everything. All right. Well, for a moment there, you got signal strength reading. I hope you did, because it was a pure tone. Welcome. Good evening. That's what I usually say. Good evening. Let me just cut to the camera. There it is. Good evening, everyone. This is VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, VK3 EKH, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, with the regular Friday night broadcast coming to you from the studios of VK3 CSJ in Narre Warren South, broadcasting on the prime frequency of 3541 kilohertz in the 80 metre amateur radio band, and also not streaming, but broadcasting through the Melbourne television repeater, VK3 RTV, digital channel 1, which you should be able to see on the British Amateur Television site as well, the BATC. Just search for the British Amateur Television Club, BATC, go to the video server or streamer tab, video streaming tab, and then look for active repeaters or active streams, and look for VK3 RTV digital channel 1, and click on the link to that, and you should be able to see a picture there. Also on my YouTube stream, VK3CSJ, and on Discord, the HD stream on Discord. And as I say every week, Discord is probably the better way to go, because there's no delay with what you're hearing on me here to watching the visions on Discord. There's less than a second delay, and it's in HD. And there's also a chat room associated with that too. So all very good. And there's also an email address, vk3ekh@gmail.com, vk3ekh@gmail.com, for those wishing to send signal reports and the like. We've got a short broadcast tonight. I wasn't too sure if I was going to run with a video podcast tonight, just to fill in 40 odd minutes, but No, I won't worry about that right now because just things aren't quite set up easily for all that at this stage. So we shall go with the small group of articles that I've got together. I'm just watching my security camera at the moment because we've got a group of people in the backyard over an adjoining house that's decided to light a fire, and they're having a bit of a get-together. This is twice now that they've done this. They're not being a nuisance factor, but I'm keeping an eye on them anyway. It's the only concern is that if that was become a regular practice, it might be a source of interfering light source to my astronomical observations when that starts happening. And for those that have been following the Scope Dome saga, like Steve there, SPX Steve at least. I contacted Sidereal Trading today, and I've been informed that the metal work that I've been waiting for, the pier for supporting the telescope and the NEQ6 Pro equatorial mount has arrived from being anodized, and apparently should be available on Monday. I don't know whether they'll ship it to me or how it's going to be picked up. I don't know at this stage, but at least we're now in the chances of getting things up and running, which will be really good. All right, let me see. What else have I forgotten here? I think that everything's okay. We're broadcasting the full 200 watts, so remember to wind the RF amp up, so that's all should be going okay. And I can see that looking at the weather, where has it gone? Here, the weather radar. There's a smattering of rain bearing down on us about where you are, Steve, VK3SPX. It should be pouring a little bit, I would say. It's not exceedingly heavy, but it's heavy-ish. But it's all coming down towards us, so give or take within the hour, there'll be rain in Melbourne, and hopefully that will put the end to the activities next door going on here with that fire. As just to prove my point, I'll just show you the security camera. I've got it on my mobile phone, and for those watching video, you can see that's the fire going next door there. That light source over in the far corner is that people next door enjoying themselves. So just keeping an eye on what they're doing. Oh well, never mind. All right, what else? Let me see. And there's been a recent earthquake in the last few minutes. Just because I can mention this, I've got it up here. Where is it? There. Yes, there's been an earthquake, a magnitude 6.2 at 22, must have been 22 past 9. That'll be about right. Yep, 22 minutes past 9. I've only just noticed it on my own seismograph, but it's located out at West Macquarie Island, so it's out at the sea. And so it's a little bit on the far away side, but nevertheless, it's certainly registered on the local seismograph. So I missed it actually happening in real time because I was focused on here. But it's virtually directly south of Tasmania, and 6.2. So that's enough to cause a bit of a vibration around the place, that is for sure. Meantime, let's kick off with the introduction to the ASV. For those tuning in for the first time, this broadcast has been running since 1988 on this frequency at this time of the night on a Friday. Mind you, there's been the odd times when I haven't been here, But for more information about the ASV broadcast, you can get that off qrz.com. Just type in VK3EKH in qrz.com for a little bit of a bit of information on the station and a few pickies which need to be updated, but I won't worry about that right now. But the broadcast used to start off, it was originally for the first 20 years, was run by Russell Ward, VK3DRW. Russell used to kick off at 10 o'clock, and he used to have a little band of followers, and but then he decided to go for a trip around Australia and asked if I could fill in the shoes, and it's where I've been doing ever since. So the aim is to do 20 years myself. I took over in 2008. I can't quite recall when I took over the microphone, but it was around about then. So it was about 2008, and so a few more years, and I'll knock up to 20 years doing this as well, in which case I'll probably call it quits at that time. Nevertheless, let me see, where are we? The ASV is a non-for-profit society for people interested in astronomy, attracting and catering for people from a wide range of ages and backgrounds, abilities and interests. First formed in 1922, the society has grown to over 1,000 members. I think it's about 1,800. Its activities are coordinated by a council of elected office bearers, section directors and ordinary councillors. The ASV has weekly activities at our two metropolitan locations. One of those is the Morley Community Village and the Melbourne Observatory. We host monthly Astro Talks at the Herbarium near the Melbourne Observatory, which are also broadcasted live to the internet when they happen on the ASV's YouTube channel and Facebook. The Society's library is also located at the Melbourne Observatory and is open during our Astro Talks. For over 50 years, the ASV has played a major role in the care of buildings and facilities at the Melbourne Observatory. Our members conduct astronomy for the people gatherings throughout the year, something akin to sidewalk astronomy. That they mention it in America. They call it sidewalk astronomy. This is sort of a similar thing. And for information about when these gatherings occur, just check the calendar on the ASV website for up and coming gatherings. And you're more than welcome, because that's usually where the telescopes are set up in public parks, and people can roll up. On good nights, tonight being not a good night for doing stargazing. The ASV is currently involved in a number of major activities. It says here that we are involved in the restoration of the Great Melbourne Telescope, which is ongoing. In fact, I believe the telescope is now set up at the Science Works place building. I haven't seen it, but I've been told that it's been moved in a place where the public can see it. Not close up and personal yet, but it's in a position where it can be visible or viewed by public at Science Works, I believe. Not 100% sure about that. So yes, the Great Melbourne Telescope, and is also working on a series of remote telescopes, remote controlled telescopes. There's 3 domes, I think it is. It's been set up at the Dark Sky site at Heathcote, which can be all activated by members. I'm not certain how that's arranged, but I'm sure there's some sort of schedule, some sort of initial planning and set up to be able to use those remote telescopes with a bit of training, no doubt. The ASV is also involved in a site further west in Victoria, where they're setting up. They're in the process of constructing a series of what would you call it? Observatories where members can book a particular installation or observatory which has got a roll-off roof. There's several of them being constructed, and the idea is that members of the ASV that want to set up a pier and a telescope in a remote location in Western Victoria on a more or less on a permanent basis, or at least for a period of time, can hire this setup and have it all set up, and where the sky is absolutely dark as. So the ASV is in the middle of building this installation. It's called Sky. What's it called again? Farm View, Star View Farm. Oh, I forget what it's now. It's anyway. I'll go over it next week. Starview, that's it. Starview Farm. Starview Farm, something like that. David Harding's old place. They're utilising the land there. G'day to David if he's listening. Doubt it though. All right, continuing on. Thanks to a generous donation from one of the long-standing members of the ASV who's no longer with us, Silent Key, well, he wasn't a ham, Leon Mao donated the property up at Heathcote to the ASV. So I think it's 30 acres or 30 hectares, one of the two. And so that's now called the Dark Sky Site, the Leon Mao Dark Sky Site, LMDSS. And it has a pristine night sky for deep sky observing, although the glow from Bendigo and Heathcote is slowly encroaching on the horizon, but still it's still considered a dark sky site where you can set up telescopes all night and be able to observe and do astrophotography. Right. There's also an annual yearbook which is supplied by the ASV to members, and also a bi-monthly newsletter which is called Crux. And there's also a regular email that is sent out to keep members abreast of events that are coming up. The ASV is governed by a set of rules which should be read before applying for membership. There's a link to the ASV rules on the website from which I'm reading this under the About Us tab. And that's about it in a nutshell. So more information can be gleaned from the ASV website at www.asv.org.au, or just type in Astronomical Society Victoria and you'll get there. In recent times, the Geelong Astronomical Society has become a section to the ASV. The Geelong Society has merged with the ASV. Some time ago, the Bendigo District Astronomical Society merged with the ASV, and now the Mildura, there's an astronomical society up at Mildura, which has also just recently merged with the ASV, and all represent separate sections to the ASV. But currently, the major sections that make up the ASV are astrophotography, the club section, comet and meteor section, computing section, cosmology and astrophysics, deep sky, historical section. Each time I say historical, I always think of laughing. Anyway, yes, it's a jolly little section is the historical section. Anyway, instrument making, juniors, lunar and planetary, new astronomers group, radio astronomy, solar astronomy, and space exploration. So if any of those sections sound interesting to you that you might want to visit, just contact the section director for that particular section. There should be an email for those various sections. If you go under the sections tab on the ASV website. All those pages, sections that I just read out, are separate individual pages, and there should be contact details to the section director. So if you wish to come up as a newbie, a visitor, you should be more than welcome to sit in on a meeting, whether it be via Zoom or directly at the club room, and then there'll be and see whether it wets your whistle. Right. Anyway, there it is. You're tuned to ASV Radio VK3 EKH, and we're broadcasting on 3541 kilohertz, and also on the Melbourne television repeater RTV VK3 RTV1, and which is also on the BATC website, the British Amateur Television Video Server, my YouTube channel VK3CSJ, and Discord. Let me just check Discord. Is that going to work? Is that going to work? Yes. Okay. I can see that Cassiopeia is there, and Steve and Sam. G'day, Sam. Okay, and the chat room, I don't know, it's about the same group. Yep. All right. Okay. And a quick check of the email just to see if anything has come through. I'll just have to get that going first. Right, VK3EKH inbox. And at this present point in time, what is that? Don't know what that is. There's some email there, but I don't know. It's something else. It looks like a bit scammy to me, so I shan't go any further on that. All right. Now, to keep things moving, courtesy of sciencealert.com, this could be the first witnessed birth of a supermassive black hole, July 25. And there is an image associated with this article, which I will bring up there. And let me bring up there. And is my insert camera? Oh, no, don't want that one. But I will bring up that. There I am. Okay. Okay. Supermassive black holes represent one of the biggest head scratches in the universe. These behemoths, weighing millions of tens of billions of suns, lurk at the center of just about every galaxy, the gravitational heart around which stars and planets and clouds of shimmering gas whirl in an intricate dance. What we don't know is how these giants are born. Do they grow slowly, a gradual accumulation of mass from a seed of the size of a single star's core, or do they form directly from a collapse of giant clouds of material in space so dense that they cannot fight the inward pull of their own gravity? A new discovery might, at least partially, give us an answer. A pair of galaxies whose light has travelled for 8.3 billion years contains what astronomers believe is a supermassive black hole in the act of forming. If this is the case, it is the first time we have seen this process in action, a vital and unprecedented piece of the supermassive black hole formation puzzle. We think we are witnessing the birth of a supermassive black hole, something that has never been seen before, says astronomer Peter Van Dorkum of Yale University in the US. And there's another image here. I guess they're indicating that there must be potentially three black holes forming here. Continuing on with the article. No, not that. They say here that they think they're witnessing the birth of supermassive black hole. This smoking gun was formed in a pair of galaxies in the act of colliding, orientated so that the configuration resembles a figure 8 or a infinity symbol. The researchers have named the object the Infinity Galaxy, and it really is an oddity discovered in search of for oddities in the James Webb Space Telescope Cosmic Web Survey of the universe. Each of the galaxy's two lobes has its own brightly glowing nucleus with a supermassive black hole lurking therein. However, where the two lobes overlap and intersect, a third brightly glowing blob can be seen. So you can, in the image on the screen right now, you can see the two outer blobs, and the inner blob in the middle is what they're referring to. A glowing blob can be seen, as they say. The researchers carefully studied this blob in multiple wavelengths and were stunned to find the signatures of a third supermassive black hole smack bang between the two lobes of the infinity galaxy. We asked ourselves, how can we make sense of this? A careful, close analysis of the material around the anomalous black hole suggested that it was newly formed and sitting in an extended region of hot, shocked gas. This suggests a new mechanism for black hole formation based on the direct collapse model. In this case, two disk galaxies collide, forming the ring structures of stars that we see. During the collision, this gas within these two galaxies shocks and compresses. This compression might just be enough to have formed a dense knot when they collapsed and then collapsed into a black hole, Duckham explains. And there's a bit of a video associated with this, so I shall just run that. And that should be just here. And I'll make sure that there's no audio on that. If there's any audio there, I've turned it off. So there's this video running right now. Getting back to the article. While such collisions are rare events, similarly extreme gas densities are thought to have been quite common at early cosmic epochs when galaxies began forming. Galactic collisions have long been proposed as one mechanism whereby supermassive black holes can grow. When the two objects merge, their central black holes are inexorably gravitationally drawn together, eventually colliding and merging to form a bigger black hole. Such galaxy collisions are also thought to be a crucial part of how galaxies grew in the early universe. The Milky Way is thought to have undergone multiple such mergers. This hypothesis is sound, but it doesn't answer the question about how the less massive but still supermassive black holes at the centers of these galaxies formed. A growing body of evidence supports the direct collapse model, but we've not seen the process in action. The infinity galaxy is a little more halfway through the universe's 13.8 billion year history. But the early universe was full of dense clouds of hydrogen gas that could have rammed into each other, creating shocked knots of huge amounts of material in a very similar way. The discovery, therefore, is a compelling argument for the direct collapse model at the very beginning of the universe. This is as close to a smoking gun as we're likely to ever going to get, Duckham says. There's two papers that outline the discovery that have been submitted to the Astrophysical Journal Letters. This particular article has a variety of links associated with it, it stopped, has it? I thought I had that looped. Anyway, all right. Dear. So, yeah, a lot of these articles I read out tend to have links associated inside the article, so that's why I always give the article, where I found the article, a bit of a plug, and that was, like I say, located on Science Alert, www.sciencealert.com. You're tuned to ASV Radio, VK3EKH. This week, on the 16th of July, saw the return of Apollo 11 astronauts I think it's 56 years ago. They landed on the moon, and we have just a little bit of a picture here of these guys. If I can just bring it up. There we are. All right, that's a familiar picture, would have been seen by many people. Having launched on July 16, 1969 and landed on the moon on July 20, the Apollo 11 astronauts returned home and splashed down in the Pacific on July 24, 1969 in a historically amazing trip. Neil Diamond yes, I'm a fan of Neil Diamond, sorry. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin had become the first people to step onto the moon, not Neil Diamond. The third member of the crew, Michael Collins, stayed in the command module in Columbia. In addition to delivering Armstrong's famous line, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," the astronauts gathered lunar samples, took photos and video on the surface, and deployed instruments including the first lunar seismometer. After nearly 22 hours on the moon, the lunar module Eagle departed, rejoined Columbia, and began the journey back to Earth. The astronauts were quarantined for 3 weeks after splashdown, and standard practice until after Apollo 14 in case of lunar microorganisms. What a time that was. I remember ripping out articles in every newspaper and creating a fairly fat book of newspaper cuttings, which I think I've still got around here somewhere. So it was an amazing time, and I'm very pleased to say that I actually was one of those kids in the classroom at school that stood around a black and white monitor on a stand watching this amazing thing happen, which, for those that haven't seen the movie The Dish, it's highly recommended that you see the film The Dish, directed by Rob Stitch, Sam Neill and a few others, and it's a great film. And it kind of it loosely depicts this particular time, but there's a lot of symbology in the film, particularly the music soundtrack, and quite a few things in it that you can relate to very easily. It's a good film. Recommend it. The Dish. All right, you're tuned to ASV Radio, VK3EKH. Next article I have here is, if I can just find VMix again. This next article is titled "Spain offers 400 million euros to revive 30-metre telescope as Trump suggests cancelling the project." This is published on space.com 15 hours ago. And there's one image of this telescope I shall bring up. There it is. And where's me? There I am. So, go away. I've just clicked on something. You don't need that. Right. So, Spain wants and can be the home of the future of astronomy and astrophysics. On Wednesday, July 23, Diana Morant, the Minister of Science, Innovation and Universities in Spain, announced the Spanish government will offer a maximum of 400 million euros or $471 million US, I gather, to save the 30-metre telescope, a massive astronomy observation facility facing possible cancellation due to the budget constraints in the US. Spain wants and can be the home of the future of astronomy and astrophysics, she said, according to a press release translated from Spanish. "We have the capacity and the political will to do so." Originally, the 30-metre telescope, TMT, was planned to adorn a mountain in Hawaii called Muana Key, and this is a very popular observing site because of how strikingly dark its skies are and how great the weather tends to be. Indeed, it already is home to several other large ground-based telescopes like the Keck Observatory and the very long baseline array. However, the TMT's development has been riding a bumpy road, and the budget challenge became the biggest challenge came recently. The Trump administration fiscal year 2026 a budget proposal for the National Science Foundation, which is funding the TMT's design and development work, requests removing the funding altogether. As a result, the Spanish government has offered up a sizable sum of money with the hopes that the TMT can be moved to the island of La Palma, 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 in the Canary Islands, and continue construction there. If completed, it will involve not only the construction of the telescope but also decades of scientific operations, the creation of skilled employment, and economic and social boost for the island, Morant said. Trump's fiscal 26 budget, NSF budget, request actually isn't the first time the TMT has been subject to whispers of a halt. Even before Trump took office, the NSF was facing pressure from the US government to build only one giant ground-based telescope with the budget capped at $1.6 billion. And this was a worry because there are already two giant telescopes in the works. One is the TMT, and the other, known as the Giant Magellan Telescope, GMT, that's being built in the clear sky deserts of Chile. They were meant to work in tandem with the GMT watching over the southern hemisphere while the TMT watches the northern hemisphere. They also have complementary skill sets, so slap their observations together and astronomers believed that would paint a beautiful picture of the night sky in its totality. But as the days go by, it's looking more and more like this utopia situation isn't going to work out. Trump's NSF budget request for upcoming year specially states that the GMT can move forward to the final design phase, but the TMT cannot. However, it also states that the NSF has received assurances from the GMT project that it can complete the final design phase without further investments. Moving into the final design phase does not guarantee that the project will be approved for construction, and doing so does not obligate the agency to provide any further funding. So, in other words, the future of the GMT may not be 100% certain either. In fact, the administration's budget proposal for the agency was aggressive all around, and it could shut down one of two sites that comprise the LIGO Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory that studies black holes, and completely halt operations of the DKIST, the Daniel K. Solar Telescope, which is the world's most powerful solar telescope that started delivering data relatively recently and reduced the number of people involved in NSF science from over 330,000 to just around 90,000, and that's just a few of the blows. Yes, it's not good, these cutbacks that are going on, potential cutbacks. So we just have to wait and see what transpires with all this. Dear old Trump baby. You're tuned to ASV Radio, VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, with the regular Friday night broadcast. We now go across to the next article. There's no Tamitha Scove weather report tonight, unfortunately. She did bring out a report last week, but it came out just after the Friday night broadcast. So, but I did broadcast it on the on Sunday morning with the WIA News. Where am I? Okay. Oh yeah. Yep. Yes, this one. All right. And I shall go straight to the picture of this. All right. This article is titled, if I can get back to it, got so many things open here. A jaw-dropping image reveals dying stars entangled like serpents, July 25. The day before my thesis examination, the author says, my friend and radio astronomer Joe Cunningham showed me an image we'd been waiting for 5 long years, an infrared photo of 2 dying stars we'd requested from the Very Large Telescope in Chile. He says, I gasped. The stars were writhed in a huge spiral of dust, like a snake eating its own tail. And there's another slightly better image here. Here it is. And the article continues on to say, this image you're seeing on the screen is captured by the European Space Observatory's Very Large Telescope. And it's been named APEP, A-P-E-P, APEP, for the Egyptian serpent, god of destruction. Now, our team has finally been lucky to use the NASA's James Webb Space Telescope to look at APEP. If anything could stop the first shock of seeing its beautiful spiral nebula, is this breathtaking new image with the JWST's data now analysed in 2 papers on the ARXIV site. Right before they die as supernovae, the universe's most massive stars violently shed their outer hydrogen layers, leaving their heavy cores exposed. These are called Wolf-Rayet stars, after the discoverers who noticed powerful streams of gas blasting out from these objects, much stronger than the stellar streams or the stellar wind from our sun. And let me just click on a link here for a quick second. Just checking on something here. Yeah, no, I won't worry about that. It's a bit too complex in reading that, so I shall just close that down. No, I just closed the actual article down. Well, wouldn't it bother you? Just bear with me a tick. What was that site now? What did I just close down? Can I? No, that hasn't happened. Oh man. Yep, my apologies. I just clicked on the wrong thing, and no, I've got it. I found it. Here we go. Good. Right. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. It's what happens when you've got too many things happening here. So these are called Wolf-Rayet stars, R-A-Y-E-T stars, after the discoverers who noticed powerful streams of gas blasting out from these objects, much stronger than the stellar wind from our star, our sun, our own sun. The Wolf-Rayet stage lasts only millennia, a blink of the eye in cosmic timescales, before they violently explode. Unlike our sun, many stars in the universe exist in pairs known as binaries. This is especially true for most massive stars, such as Wolf-Rayets. When the Pierce Gales from the Wolf-Rayet star clash with their weaker companion's wind, they compress each other in the eye of the storm, forms a dense, cool environment in which the carbon-rich winds can condense into dust. The earliest carbon dust in the cosmos, the first of the material making up our own bodies, was made this way. And there's another image here. Okay, going back to the article. So what you're seeing there is the pinwheel nebula of the triple Wolf-Rayet star system, WR104. The dust from the Wolf Rayet is blown out into almost a straight line, and the orbital motion of the stars wraps it into a spiral-shaped nebula appearing exactly like water from a sprinkler when viewed from above. We expect APEP to look like one of these elegant pinwheel nebulas discovered by a colleague and co-author Peter Tuthill. To our surprise, it did not, though. The new image was taken by the James Webb Space Telescope's infrared camera, like the thermal cameras used by hunters for the military. It represents hot material as blue and the colder material in the green through to red. Right. I've got to be careful with this article. So the dust appeared to be moving much slower than the winds, which was hard to explain, they say. It said that we suggested that the dust might be carried on a slow, thick wind from the equator of fast-spinning star, rare today but common in the early universe. The new, much more detailed data from the James Webb Space Telescope reveals 3 more dust shells zooming farther out, each cooler and fainter than the last and spaced perfectly evenly against the background of swirling dust, which is probably better seen in this last image here. Well, actually, I think this is also part of the article. And finally, in the last paragraph, they say here that the James Webb Space Telescope data are now published and interpreted in a pair of papers led by the Caltech astronomer and Macquarie University students. The papers reveal how the nebula dust cools, links with the background dust to foreground stars, and suggests that the stars are farther away from Earth than we thought. This implies that the extraordinarily bright, but that they are extraordinarily bright, but weakens our claim, or original claim, about the slow winds and the rapid rotation. In the paper, the authors develop a fast computer model for the shape of the nebula and uses this to decode the orbit of the inner stars very precisely. He says, we also noticed that there's a bite taken out of the dust shells, exactly where the wind of the third star would be chewing into them. And this proves that the APEP family isn't just a pair of twins, that they actually have a third sibling. Understanding a system like APEP tells us more about stars' deaths and the origins of carbon dust. But these systems also have a fascinating beauty that emerges from their seemingly simple geometry. The violence of star death carves puzzles. The violence of star death carves puzzles that would make sense to Newton and Archimedes, but it is a scientific joy to solve them and share them. Right, if you really want to catch up with that article, that's courtesy of sciencealert.com. The title is Jaw-Dropping Image Reveals Dying Stars Entangled Like Serpents. And it's laced with links, and it's a tricky article to read, that one. Don't know why. Anyway, never mind, don't worry about it. You're tuned to ASV Radio VK3EKH. And I think that's about it. So I'm going to go jumping straight on to spaceweather.com, which I have also closed down for some reason. So I'm just going to have to open that up there. And there it is. Okay. The solar wind. Hang on, let me get rid of that image on the screen there. Camera 1. Where is camera 1? Camera 1. There you are. And get rid of my insert. All right. Now, going back to space weather. The solar wind is currently at a speed of 528.3 kilometres a second at a density of 1.61 protons per cubic centimetre. The disk of the sun, if we could look at it right now, it looks a bit like that. Oh, sorry, I haven't even got it up. Looks a bit like that at the moment as we speak. So there's quite a number of sunspots on the sun, and oh dear, the current sunspot number is 137. 137. The radio sun, measured at a wavelength of 10.7 centimetres, is 156 solar flux units. 156 solar flux units. The current aurora over the South Pole looks a bit like this, which isn't too much to speak of. So very, very faint glow over the South Pole. So no aurora activity to speak of. The coronal hole. In fact, the coronal hole has disappeared from what we saw last week, and the image looks like this at the moment. And what's interesting is, oh come on, sorry, just try. Come on, go across, you damn thing. There it is. Okay, we've got it now. This looks to be a small movie, but I didn't save it as a video. I saved it as a JPEG, so I don't know. Okay, but what you're seeing there, out of interest, is the image captures a partial eclipse of the sun by the moon, as seen from the SDO probe. And as it says here, there are no significant coronal holes facing Earth. But what you've got there is a partial eclipse from the moon, just coming in shot in that particular view. So there, I believe it must be some sort of a video, but I saved it as a JPEG. I'm not really sure about that. But anyway, it's an interesting shot. Okay, next up on the image here is this guy. I'm just going to go straight to this article. Actually, before I do, there is a CME coming, according to spaceweather.com, but it's not a big one. The Sun launched the CME toward Earth on July 23rd, propelled by an erupting filament of magnetism near the disk center. Although it is faint, the CME could still cause a G1 class geomagnetic storm when it arrives on July 27. Now, the article we've got here is equatorial plasma bubbles are coming for your GPS. Earth's ionosphere is a bit like Swiss cheese. It contains holes called equatorial plasma bubbles. If any of these bubbles drift across your sky, grip the steering wheel, your GPS might go haywire. That's exactly what happened during a geomagnetic storm in March 2023. A new study published in the research journal Space Weather recounts how GPS radio signals began to rapidly flicker, akin to the twinkling of a star, causing the positioning errors across the wide swath of the Americas. Okay, and with this image on the screen here, this is illustrating how GPS satellites transmitting through a bubbly ionosphere. Yeah, all right. So this is the most intense event we have analysed, says Fabio Rodriguez, a physics professor at the University of Texas in Dallas, and one of the paper's lead authors. It produced an extremely intense disruptions at low latitudes for more than 10 hours and was even detectable by our mid-latitude sensor in Dallas, which is unusual, they reckon. Completely surrounding Earth, the ionosphere is a shell of ionized gas created by the sun. Solar ultraviolet radiation ionizes air near the edge of space, creating a dynamic layer of plasma that varies with solar activity, time of day, and latitude. The ionosphere plays a critical role in GPS systems by reflecting or distorting radio waves passing through it. When the sun sets, the ionosphere, when the sun sets, oh, there's a comma there. When the sun sets, comma, the ionosphere becomes unstable. And this happens because the sun's ionizing radiation suddenly disappears. A Rayleigh-Taylor instability takes hold, and bubbles of low-density plasma begin to rise, much like the blobs in a lava lamp. And I've got an image of that, just in case you've never seen that happen before. I think we've all seen that. These structures are especially common near the magnetic equator, where electric and magnetic fields enhance the effect. That's why they are called the equatorial plasma bubbles. And they say here that in March 23 to 24, 2023, event was remarkable because the bubbles were so widespread that they are normally confined within plus or minus 20 degrees of the magnetic equator, but during the storm they spread at least twice as far, affecting population centres at middle latitude. Peak position errors were wider than urban roadways. So yeah, that's quite interesting. That's an article. It's part of spaceweather.com. All right, I think that's about all there is in that little collection of things. Just seeing if there is anything else in there. I usually finish up by saying that as of July 25, 2025, there were 2,349 potentially hazardous asteroids, but none of those asteroids are on a collision course with Earth. I might add that there is some silly rumours, not rumours, but silly nonsense going on about the Atlas comet that's skirting through the solar system at the moment. So many people online are thinking that it's some sort of extraterrestrial thing that's coming through. So just ignore all those. Anybody that reads all that crap, just ignore it. It has no foundation at all, of course. All right, I think that's it. Very nice to have an earthquake. It's occurring while the program is running, or it was before the program at least. And I think that's about it. I'm just about to give up here. I am so tired right now. I can really feel tired. All right, I'll just check out my security camera again, make sure that these people haven't created a fire and burnt their place down. All right. Okay, on that note, let me, they're still having a good time. All right, that's okay. And where's this rain coming? I can't wait for this rain to dampen their fire. It's a pretty heavy over Ballarat at the moment. There's some very heavy falls, Ballarat and Wood End, coming down on Sunbury. So, like I said, Melbourne's about to get it. All right. I think, therefore, I shall open up the frequency for any stations wishing to call in. Before I do, let me just check Discord and see. Okay, so you guys are still there. All right. Email. And there's been no emails come through from what I can see. Just check that inbox. Refreshed. Nope, nothing there. All right. Okay. Sorry, I am all over the place tonight. I can really feel it. It's been a long week. There's just too many late nights. This is VK3EKH, listening on 3541 kHz for any stations wishing to check in. Okay. VK3 Delta X-ray, VK3 SPX, VK3 Hotel Kilo. Are there anybody else out there wanting to check in? All right. Across to you there, Greg, VK3 Delta X-ray. I'm not with it. VK3 DX, VK3 EKH. G'day, Brett. VK3 Delta X-ray, VK3 EKH returning. Yeah, no worries, Greg. I'm just no, I didn't mention the location exactly, but it's about 2 hours west of Heathcote, where our current dark sky site up at Heathcote. This property is about 2 hours further west, and I'm just trying to find. I think they talked about it in the latest email that came out, but for the life of me, I can't see it right now. I don't know why I can't see it. There was a bunch of emails that came out, just a couple, from the ASV in the last day or so, and I think they did talk about it, or were talking about it. For the life of me, I can't see those emails. I don't know why it's not popping out of the screen at me. Let me just check the latest crux. There might be something in here, actually. Let me see. Just having a quick look. Let's see. I'm just looking at the President's report. There might be something in here. Okay, this is what the President's saying. He says, meanwhile, preparations are ramping up for Starview Farm. I think I was tripping over that at the beginning. It's called Starview Farm. So anyway, preparations are ramping up at Starview Farm. Site works are due to commence in the coming weeks, and construction of the roll-off roof observatories will follow shortly after. We're aiming for completion and member access by October or November. The site represents a major leap forward for the Society's providing purpose-built dark sky facility that many of us have dreamed about for years. He doesn't specifically give a location. I have heard of it, but I can't remember what it is right now. Anyway, yeah, so we'll keep you abreast. Nevertheless, all right, thanks, Greg. Steve, VK3 SPX, VK3 EKH.
VK3 EKH, VK3 SPX, very clear. Thanks for the broadcast. I've been getting those emails about the last stage of foundation prices at Starview Farm in the Sudan, yeah. So, yeah, a bit too rich for me. I've got my own bucket here anyway. Not quite as dark as that, but I think it's more normal to where I go. It's pretty good. Yes, well, good. Here's a jump here. Cycle going to see. So, to expect some pictures soon, and not long after, some deep sky photographs. So better get going there, Cliff. There, and we were talking about Apollo 11, those two. Yes, it was actually on the 21st of July. The Americans got it wrong. They think it's on the 20th, but we know that it was actually on the 21st, which happened to coincide with my wife's 10th birthday, which is quite a significant birthday for him. I remember, I think maybe I was in about form at high school, and they called the buses and sent all the kids home. And I remember sitting around the old 17-inch black and white TV watching Neil Armstrong walk on the moon, which was something that I don't think I'll ever forget. So, I'm sure you have memories of that as well, Chris. All right. I'll run through it now. But the others do have a go. EK3, EKH is the BK,
Yeah, thanks, Steve. VK3SBX, VK3 EKH, excellent stuff. Yes, it was, like I say, it was a really great time, and the following Apollo missions were just as amazing to follow, and of course, particularly Apollo 13 with the problems there. But the following missions up to Apollo 17 was really fascinating. Apollo 17, they had the longest stay on the surface of the moon, and so it'd be just fantastic to be able to get back there again. But with all these budget restraints, it's getting fairly difficult to know how things are being planned, and just if it's possible, if it'll ever happen again. Anyway, that's another story. Starview Farm. I can't remember the location. It's I have heard it though, but I know that it's somewhere out there in central Western Victoria. I'll find out and let you all know next week. Okay. So hopefully Monday I may know about access to or getting when I can get a hold of the metal pier and the adapter plate, and when that finally arrives, things should start to move along. So I can't wait. All right. Steve, VK3HK. Sorry, mate, for keeping you up, because I'm pretty sure that you're most likely in bed listening to your side radio on the side of the bed. VK3HK. Well, maybe not. VK3HK, VK3CSJ, EKH. Oh dear.
Okay, so who's going to take it, Clint? You or me?
I'll put it across to you there, Steve. That's all right.
Pick it up tomorrow morning. I'll pick it up on YouTube.
No, you don't have to.
There I was. You were talking about the 30-metre telescope. I thought that was very interesting. And then I thought, I better go and have a shower, get ready for bed, which I did. Go back here. I've been looking at you on the ATC side, which is terrific actually. You were talking away, and I thought, what the hell are you coming through on the radio? And I switched onto the radio direct, and you're winding up, and I thought, mate, hadn't allowed for the delay. Anyway, here I am, you're belting through there in Trinity Gully, you're 20 to 30 dB over 9, very, very strong signal, and as I say, the BA2C feed was great, and just the last few minutes I've been looking at the YouTube offering, and that's great too. So, there you go. Anyway, looking forward to tomorrow morning to hear what I missed out on. Back to you, VK3CSJ, VK3HK.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. VK3HK, VK3EKH returning. I don't think you really missed out on much. I I was basically finishing up by about 5 minutes to the hour, which is usually not too bad. I managed to stretch things out a bit, but I was actually very close to running a podcast. Not a podcast, but the ASV's Astro Talk from this month, a couple of weeks ago, which was quite interesting. They had a very interesting person doing a very interesting presentation, and I felt it was probably worthwhile playing that just to fill in the hour, because I just don't have the energy to be waffling like I am. So yeah. Anyway, there's a couple of articles I would have liked to have caught up with tonight, but I just I couldn't find them straight away, so I didn't worry about it. I just found some very quick articles that read through, some mostly dealing with black holes and what scientists believe how black holes are formed, one of those continuing things that they're researching. Anyway, that's another story. All right, Brit, VK3AOB, did you want to have a quick say?
I was sitting here editing photos, about 8,000 photos on the laptop here, and I'm going through and deleting some of the editing ones that I want to keep, and so I was sort of half listening. And I got up at 20, got out of the chair at 20 to 11, went and brushed the poopy pegs for that fresh minty taste, and getting ready for bed, and 11 hours I came back and you signed that there you go. Anyway, yeah, it was quite good. I wasn't really paying a fat lot of attention, sort of intermittently, but anyway, here gets that. Yeah, okay, keep up the good work. VK3 CSJ, VK3 AOB.
Yeah, thanks, Brett. That's okay, not a problem. Just making sure that the call book looks good and healthy. That's all. Oh dear. All right. Just one more check. Is there anybody else wishing to check in? VK3 EKH listening?
VK3 Echo Bravo and STX again, please, thanks.
VK3 Echo Bravo. EB. Yeah. VK3 EB. Who's that?
Yeah, good evening, Clint. Yeah, name's Dallas.
Oh.
I know you made it a lot of snack, crackle and pop storms around, and brought back a few memories with the moon landing, so that was very interesting. I'd forgotten it was the anniversary, so that was excellent. VK3, thanks for the broadcast. VK3 EKH, VK3 EB Shepparton.
G'day, Dallas. VK3 EB, VK3 EKH. Sorry, I'm really exhausted at the moment, but I should have really recognised the call sign, and as soon as you said Dallas, I thought, yep, Shepparton, the SDR. I'm not sure if that SDR is running at the moment, but anyway. Yeah, g'day, Dallas, and I'm sure Mr. HK's want to say hello to you as well. Thanks, Dallas, for calling in. Appreciate that. And yeah, like I say, a whole Apollo program was a really amazing time in history and in the human history. And like I say, if you haven't seen the film The Dish, Rob Stitch's film The Dish, then highly recommend it. I've had the opportunity of going up to the Parkes Radio Telescope a few times, particularly on their open days, and when they were having the open day, they would run the movie The Dish out in the sheep paddock with the actual dish operating in the background, and it was really quite exciting to be able to sit down and watch the movie in a sheep paddock with the Parkes Radio Telescope glowing green in the background. But anyway, apart from that, it is a good film, and it covers. I believe it covers the whole period of time there really really well. Anyway, that's another story. All right, Steve, VK3SPX wanted to have a quick say. What was it, Steve?
Yeah, BK3SPX. Yeah, I just wonder if you've seen the Cassiopeans comment on Discord. Was asking about whether you could accept check-ins on the Discord voice channel. Could be an interesting addition, perhaps, please. Over.
Right. Let me just see. Are you accepting check-ins from Discord voice channel? Oh, I see. I don't know. Is there a voice channel? All right. I don't know where that would be exactly. I'll have to explore that. Nebs, I'll see what that's all about. Yeah. So far, the only check-ins really is what I do here on the radio, and pretty much what I get on email and Discord in general. So I'm not sure about the Discord voice channel. Have to explore that one. Actually, that'd be a bit difficult at the moment because the sound system on the computer here is tied in with the whole digital system and the mixer here. It's actually a little bit tricky for me to monitor audio off the computer without mucking around a little bit. I've only got the one computer running here. If I was upstairs, I would usually have another two computers going, keeping things like Discord separate from the main operating computer. But since I've moved the shack downstairs, the computer that runs the digital TV station is all part and parcel of what I do here directly when it comes to reading articles. So I actually need to set up another computer here so that things like Discord and the email I can view in two separate screens, so I can keep a constant monitor on it. I used to have a couple of monitors running all the time upstairs, 3 monitors in fact, but I've only got the one monitor running here. So yeah, it's a little tricky at the moment if I was to listen to audio, but nevertheless I shall investigate that, and it's all part and parcel of trying to get this shack sorted out. It's still a mess. Anyway, thanks Cassiopeia and Sam for VK3 FST, who's also sitting there as well, and Britt and Greg and Mr. HK. We'll catch up on 160 tomorrow morning. I should be available at 11 o'clock tomorrow for the Friday night group. No, the Saturday morning group. Oh, I am tired. I'm going to bed. I bet you I don't, though. All right. Cheers, everyone. Thanks very much for listening into my bilge, and we'll be back again next week to do it all again. Hopefully, I'll be a little bit more kosher. This is VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, broadcasting since 1988. That's why I'm so tired. Cheers, everyone. Take care.
So there you go. Anyway, that's what happened. license. Well, you know, but yeah. So there you go. Back to you. Yeah, right. Yeah, nothing much of the rain at all. It's a bit cold weather. About 7. Hope you've been well, and hope you're behaving yourself, I'd imagine. And yeah, fine, Greg. Yeah, no, I'm happy, pretty good. No problems. Got on the bike yesterday, went for a ride, a 10k ride up the highway and then the back road, and then back around the rail trail back into town. Did one last week actually. I felt like it. I thought, given it was a sunny day, I thought, no, was it yesterday or the day before? Yeah, no, yesterday I think it was, yeah. He comes back to the takeaway, had a cup of coffee or something like lunch, afternoon tea, and then came home. So, then sitting here ensconced in the laptop here, I've got editing photos and I'm finally going through and organising, sorting them all out and having everywhere I can find them and getting rid of copies and just junk that's on the computer, make some space on it. So it's getting there. Yeah, a lot of static and lightning tonight, so not very nice. I'll pull the pin and get into bed. So I'll be around tomorrow if you're on the road to come up. And, we can chat further, I guess. But, yeah, back to
Come on.
Maybe we'll talk to you tomorrow. Haven't heard anything around me. He rang me up about 2 weeks ago. I was going out, so tried to ring him back. Anyway. Okay, Britt. Hey, Will. Catch you later. Yeah, cheers, Greg. No worries. Sweet dreams. Yeah. Getting to bed most of the radio for now, and I like to fall asleep listening to music because it's nice. Alright, yeah, catch you further down the line. VK3, the XVK3, another old loser going to bed. Catch you further down the line.